My mic is muted! Hello! I was like, why is my mic coming through? And stuff is still muted. Is still stuff muted? Yeah, Discord is muted. Yeah, everything's going smoothly today. Hey guys, Pedz here. It's the first time I've been on a Twitchcast in about 7 years.
Feels like it.
I had to take time off for family reasons, and unfortunately, it's been hard for Doom to find people to partake in the Twitchcast because everyone has lives. Anyway, today we have Doom with us.
Hello.
And a new person who we like to call Lord Aten.
Or anything else you want to call.
As you can see from the image I have used a sun with lots of rays coming from it, which is a Egyptian stone tablet. I believe that is what Aten is about. So,
yep.
Anyway, I thought I'd introduce Aten. Is there any questions anyone would like to ask him? Like, any at all? No? Yes?
Probably not. Raise your hands now.
Anyway, we have a few things we would like to discuss. Oh, bloody hell, I can't read any of the text now. What was I going to say? Basically, we are probably going to be a little bit shorter with the Twitchcast tonight because we have things we need to do. Yes. And
very incredibly important things.
Exactly. Very, very, very important things. And we would like you to all realise that Sea of Thieves is very important.
As you expect.
It's the most important thing.
Anyway, I think we should get on it and talk about our very first topic, which is actually going to be about something that is very dear to people, and that is the Xbox.
Yes.
I don't know who it's dear to, but it's dear to someone.
It's dear to... I don't know, because Pedz, you're very open when it comes to consoles, aren't you? You kind of buy all of the ones available if you can. So,
basically,
is there one that you kind of always have a soft spot for? Though, well, a company rather than a console, say.
I would say Nintendo out of them all, simply because I grew up with Nintendo. My first console was a Nintendo console, and I've had every single Nintendo console, handheld or home console. And Zelda is my favorite game franchise, and that's on the Nintendo console, so that's mainly why.
Yeah. So there's your soft spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
My soft spot.
That's fair enough.
Right. So, we were going to discuss the Xbox One. I believe there was news of a Xbox One being released without a disc drive.
Yes,
which
it's going to be called the Xbox All Digital Edition. That's it's going to be his name. It's due out next month, apparently, or at least the announcement is due next month for it to then be released a couple of weeks after the announcement. It's quite a swift thing that's going to happen, apparently.
So they've announced an announcement?
Yes. Well, there's no official announcement, but it's kind of come from like very reliable sources and
super sneaky.
Yes.
Basically, what I'm wondering is, are any of you guys gonna buy a discless version of the Xbox? Do you have any interest in a discless version of the Xbox? Would you buy future versions of the discless Xbox? And do you think this is? I believe there's something you said earlier, actually, Doom, is this is a test the waters about next gen or maybe the gen after for a discless Xbox.
So for me, up until this year, I've always bought physical games, but even and for certain consoles, like I like buying physical games for. So pretty much any Nintendo system, I prefer to buy the games for, like physically. When it comes to the PS4 or Xbox, I don't have a PS4, but it's in the same bracket for me. I don't know. I view it very differently, and I'm not sure why. I just view the Xbox and / PlayStation differently than I do to the Nintendo consoles. So they're ones that I kind of see. It's difficult for me to describe really, but I don't have the same desire to collect just simply to collect for Xbox over the Nintendo. So this year, so this year I've started buying everything digital. It also helps that I've been game sharing with a friend of mine who, anyone who's tuned into my streams, Sea of Thieves streams, will know who Slam is.
Yeah, he's Grum.
I think.
He's
He's
the non-cool version of Grum.
So going all digital just kind of makes sense because it's just saving us so much money, even though they're more expensive, which I do not agree with at all. They should never be more expensive than the physical game. It does work out cheaper in the long run purely for the fact that we're only paying half the amount for the game. So
I think if they're going with this digital thing of not going to have disk drive, they really need to fix that price point of digital only games.
See,
that's going to massively impact people wanting to buy it or not.
The thing another thing you need to look at is not just price point. It's if you buy a game on Steam, there are about 5,000 places you can buy a digital key for. With the Xbox and the PlayStation, there isn't other online dedicated shops for them. You can get some stuff on CD keys occasionally. And other shops like Game and Game is the only one I can think of at the moment. Most of the other shops are closed, don't they? Seem to sell codes, but not at cheap prices. And I think that is the problem. There's not really much competition for digital sales. And I think that is supposed to be cited as one of the reasons why digital copies are more expensive, because physical copies need to actually look like they're worth buying.
Yeah.
Don't know if that's true, but...
Because if you're already losing out on the physicality, the satisfaction of holding something, then where's the benefit unless there's a financial incentive for them?
Exactly.
Like you said, Ben, it really works for you because you game share, and effectively it's half the price of the inflated price, so it's still a nice little discount.
Yeah.
But without that, it's just why would you choose that? It's like.
And the thing is, we're not talking £1 or £2 difference. We're talking we're talking. Yeah. Like for instance, I bought Anthem. I pre-ordered Anthem, and I paid £10 more than the physical version. Which some people think I'm nuts for doing it. Which I understand.
Another thing,
it's a game that hasn't had a lot of good press, but
then it's a shared game as well, so you're sharing it between the two of you. So
the thing you have is with Anthem is on PC, if you are willing to get Origin access Premiere, which is basically EA access on the Xbox One, but Premiere also gives you access to games as they release. As well as that, you get the deluxe versions of the games or whatever premium version they have. And it's like £80 a year or $89. It's basically the cost of two games. You pay two games and you get that. And also Anthem then came out on the PC 3 or 4 days earlier for those people with Origin Premiere. If that was the thing, that would be a lot cheaper again. And I think that's another thing is games are going down a subscription-based way as well. Look at Game Pass, EA Access, PlayStation Plus, Xbox Live Gold, Nintendo Switch Online, which really doesn't count, but it is there.
Yeah.
So you can see the discless being decent in a lot of places, but I like buying my games physically. I still do. I like having my games. The problem is, when you look at games this generation more than previous generations, you have so many games with a day one patch, and what you have there is basically you buy in the game and then half the game isn't playable properly because of some patch. So if you at least buy it digitally, if you was like a lot of people say you can resell your physical copy of a game, but people are not in a couple of years' time. People are not going to buy second-hand copies because if the servers are down or for that game, or the game has we've moved on a couple of gens and the updates are not available.
Yeah. Or
the consoles, which are not backwards compatible, are unable to get the updates in that way, you're then fucked.
Yeah.
You basically buy it. Like, look at that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 or whatever it was. I think like the first level was on the disc. Everything else had to be downloaded. I can understand why people would want digital purchases there, but at the same time, I would like my games to be complete games when they come out, and still have on disc.
That's the thing as well. Is if we look at this, your games are attached to your account. So, what's going to happen in the future when, hypothetically, let's just say the next generation of console is all digital. We know it won't be, but let's just say that's the case. For that current generation, it'll be great, and for the generation after, everything will be good. But if you look at like 3 or 4 generations later, when no games are being developed for it anymore, the servers are taken offline, and they're now essentially collector's pieces, there's no games to go with them because your games that you buy are attached to your account. So if you wipe that console and sell it as a collector's piece, whoever buys it, unless they've got their own games that they've had that they can then play all of a sudden, they're going to be in serious trouble because there won't be the games there to do that. Do you see what I mean? So you're almost killing the future retro market. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think the games companies care all that much though, because again, why would they care? Oh, we don't get our money, so fuck them. We don't care. Yeah. Kiss my ass. This is probably what they're thinking.
That was a big part of the reason for the shift in the first place, wasn't it? I mean,
you've
had like, was it the PlayStation Store that looked at people like trading them back afterwards or whatever digital games.
Yeah.
You could like gift them to a friend or something. I can't remember what it was exactly, but a way of having that kind of resellability of a digital game when it's just a code, really, isn't it? To allow access to it. I don't see why you can't do that, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. As well as that, like, it means that, I don't know, they can get all the money, don't they? It's like, if they decide on selling a game, then you can't sell it on, and they get all the money. And if they do, in the future, do a digital store selling thing, then they'll get a cut of that as well. So they're making money from us in that way as well. Matt also brings up a point in chat. For some reason, it's gone off the stream, but he says shops need to sell their physical stock to make room for new products too. This doesn't happen for digital products.
Yeah, well, that's the thing as well. Is what you got to remember is the games companies will they pre-buy the stock. So the games companies make their money when gaming shops buy the stock. The companies, the developers, don't have to wait for us to buy a copy. They've already made their money before they've sold us anything. Then it's up to the game, like you said, it's up to the game shops to then sell their stock. And if a game's not shifting, they have to lower the price because they've got them surplus. Do you know what I mean? So therefore, as soon as that game, this is the problem. This is the inherent problem. I think this is why we get so many day one patches. This is why we get so many games that are broken. Tony Hawk's being a major one. There's a few games on the Switch, that Troll and I game, and there's plenty of games this generation that are borderline unplayable. You could even argue the same for, as much as I hate to say it, but Anthem, until that day one patch came out, it was impossible to play, pretty much, you're seeing developers care less and less about the quality of the games. Not all, I'm not saying all, but there's a lot of developers who will just bang games out because all they have to do is get a company to buy their stock in bulk, and they've already made their money. They do not care if the game doesn't sell. They don't have to refund anything to from the game companies. They've
and that's
the deal.
That's why hype and like marketing and media is such a big thing right now. Look at Anthem. When we heard about that the first time at E3, and then we heard nothing for a little while, and then it went hype, and it kept escalating like it was going to be this absolutely game-changing like event to go and do. And yeah, it is fun, but is it that amazing experience that's perfect and like engrossing and you can't keep yourself away from?
For me, with Anthem, when it was first shown, I was like, oh, it's like Destiny, but by BioWare. And I think a lot of the internet reacted that way. I think that was a bad thing on their part. And another problem with Anthem is people, I think, wanted different from BioWare themselves because of their the heritage, the pedigree. It's always in like kind of like RPGs. So would you buy, if next gen comes along and it is, say this driveless Xbox does well, and then next gen is the only option is a discless, or say it comes out, there's the option of a discless and a physical one with discs, which were you more likely to buy for the next box?
If the specs were the same and it's just the drive, I'd go for the driverless one because
gives you choice on it.
Yeah. Well, no, I'd buy the driverless one. I wouldn't buy the driverless. Just I digital purchasing every single game for the Xbox for the future now. I don't need a drive anymore. And if it makes it cheaper as a result of that, because a Blu-ray drive, they're quite expensive to fit, as soon as you take that out of the equation, you're probably saving £60 on your console, just purely on. So,
what would you do though if you decided, I fancy sticking on a nice 4K film, and then you're like, I haven't got a 4K Blu-ray player anymore because I chucked my Xbox in the bin. Like me, I use my Xbox for playing games, but I also use it if I want to watch a 4K episode of Blue Planet 2 or the other Planet one that I forget, Planet Earth 2, because they 4K HDR.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wouldn't want to download them. I'd rather just have them on disc. I know that streaming people like doing, but watching 4K HDR Netflix stuff, the quality is not as good as watching a 4K DVD Blu-ray. It fucking is not.
Different levels. There's different levels of 4K. That's the thing. It's not just a case of upscaling. There are quite distinct differences in the type, because it's 4K, but then it depends on the level of bit rate that and the streaming services. In order to get like real high quality 4K, the bit rate would be so high that you'd need like my level of internet to have any success at streaming it at that level, which would be nuts. It's not doable for most people. So. Like you said, so it's compromised essentially. It is 4K, but it's not at the best bit rate it could be for that reason. So
it's basically compressed to fuck them back.
Yeah, it has to be, because the bit rate would just be ridiculous on a 4K
stream, like internet.
Yeah. So I get that, but I don't use I don't really use discs. It's very, very uncommon that I use discs these days.
But what about when there's like a rare collectible game that comes along and it's like, you can only get this in limited quantities? You could get that and play that, and you'd have something worthwhile instead of a box with nothing, no worth to it once all your games move on to the next platform.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I don't think I've ever come across a Xbox game that I've wanted to buy physically for the point of collecting it. I do not like. I'm like Dan can tell you because he knows me really well.
Well,
I am
Right.
terrible for trading games in.
Yes.
Xbox games, Nintendo games, I don't trade in. I'm terrible for it. I'll buy a game, play it, go, and if I don't play that game for like more than after like 6 months or so, I just basically trade it in. And some games like, yeah. So if I buy them digitally, one, it stops you from doing it, and two, it forces me to play them more. So I
This
can
is
actually
put
get
more
more of
time
an
into it.
enjoyment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
I don't
You
trade
almost-
games in, so.
Yeah,
you
I'm
almost don't give
such a
games
bad
a chance
habit.
sometimes. Yeah.
No, I don't, and you're right. And that's a personal flaw of mine, especially with Xbox/PS4, that kind of this generation. I just don't. It just doesn't have the same level of worth for me as Nintendo games for some reason.
I mean, like just going back to what you were saying about the like kind of almost collectability of like Nintendo
Yeah.
games. I think something about that goes back to the Game Boys and like
Yeah,
holding those cartridges, and it's like a physical cartridge, and like there's something really quite satisfying about slotting that cartridge in.
you're
and
right.
It kind of carries on.
Something
to Nintendo
sexual
games.
about her, innit,
Yeah.
Almost, yeah.
I'm just
I mean,
joking,
even
but-
though it's not like a cartridge anymore, it just feels like it's Nintendo, so I want to carry that on. It's like
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, it is a cartridge. The Switch, the Switch is.
I thought it was
full
like
on.
an SD card thing.
No, it's more SD card esque, but it is still a cartridge, definitely.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, well, there you go. It's like they've probably purposely stuck to that to like keep that kind of satisfaction going.
Mm.
Like,
And it helps
It's
with
almost
it helps with the portability as well, because a disc you
Mm.
can't really, I mean, the PSP put a disc drive. There was a
Yeah.
disc drive in that, but didn't really work. Like it didn't work
you're
the
only
same. did
fiddling
it?
around with discs that you can smudge and scratch and
No.
all that stuff. It's like there's something about it, and it's like you need
Yeah.
versatility. And you need to be able to last.
Mm.
So,
Um,
Aten, would you buy a discless or a disc Xbox next
I
gen?
would definitely stick to having disc as an option. I couldn't let go of that because I don't know. I mean, for starters, anyway, my Xbox is the main thing I play DVDs and Blu-rays on. So to get rid of that, then I'd have to find more things to plug in and buy. And like, I know it's really inexpensive to get a Blu-ray player now, but don't want
Still
to have
extra
another
expense,
thing
I
plugged
suppose.
in. Yeah, an extra remote to have, all that jazz. It's like, well, my Xbox does everything that I need it to do.
Mm.
So I don't know.
Another thing is, though, with having a disc drive there, say you pop into a game shop and you see, oh shit, they've got this pre-owned game for £2. I can't play
Yeah.
it, and it's £2, and like, have you heard it's a cult classic? You haven't got that option of doing that, and it's like, oh, I'll go on the shop and see if there's any deals. Oh no, I'll have to pay 50, 60 quid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
I think having the option there is better than removing it. Until it
Unless
gets to
there's
the
a real
point where
advantage to it.
I'd say fair enough if it goes to next gen and the discs are not being mass produced and they've rare as fuck to come across. But when there's still like maybe in a couple of gens time, maybe it'd be a thing where having a disc would be pointless. But I think maybe this gen or next after it, the next gen after next, sorry, would be a bit too premature then. But
Yeah.
who knows what the
Yeah,
future holds.
So I think that kind of answers the question for yourself then, that you wouldn't go for a discless.
I would not. I would definitely keep a disc drive because you've got like you said, you've got the choice. And if you come across something that's like, even if you go to a charity shop, I know it's unlikely with a brand new game. If you could go into a charity shop and say, oh my god, they've got that game, they don't know how much it costs. Nabby. Pay for it, like, don't just take it. And then you've got yourself a fucking good bargain. Like, it's not worth. You're basically cutting off your nose to spite your face just to be fucking, I don't know, elitist or something
What
like that.
about
Elitist
just
doom.
like borrowing a game? Yeah. What about just borrowing a game from your friend, like that old thing? there's something about that as well that's quite nostalgic. Is like,
hey, would you like to borrow a game? Yes, here you go. Here's my Xbox.
yeah. Log into my account and have a go. It's not quite the same, is it? It's like,
it isn't, no.
And that takes you back to like, I mean, obviously we're a million miles away from it now. Like, you don't find many games that are split screen like they used to be, and back in the day.
Nintendo consoles are still okay for it, but compared to what it was, like I like the option of having online and local multiplayer. And the thing that bugs me is when there's a local multiplayer game only, I get pissy because there's no online. Yeah. But I also get pissy about games that I think would be really suited to playing with people locally. So, yeah. I see where you're coming from with the lack of local multiplayer. Like
that whole thing of let's all play like four player split screen and like don't look at my corner. Like, there's something about that. It just takes you back, and there's a big loss in that. And then I don't know. I know it's different to this, but like it feels like
I see what you're saying. I think
I
think one thing about streaming is it kind of emulates that feeling. Not so much when you play, like when you're playing, like you're streaming, and it's like if you're playing a game and your friends around, or you're watching like someone you talk to regularly, and they are playing a game and you're watching. It kind of emulates that sitting in the room on a chat. Of course, it's different for everyone. Some people are like, I don't watch people play games. I like play games myself. It's like, well, I don't like fucking racing games. I could just jump in a car and drive around. What do you fucking do? It's the same thing. Get a grip, you sad twat. Anyway.
Yeah, Ben.
I don't like watching football. If I wanted to play football, I'd go outside and kick a fucking football round. Jesus Christ. Anyway, would you like to move on to the next topic, which is the next topic? I can't remember what it is.
The next topic is the
Master Chief.
Topics.
Boom! Master Chief Collection. I think it was this week. There was a stream of some kind announcing that Halo the Master Chief Collection was going to be having Reach added to it, as well as having Reach added. Xbox. Yeah, it was inside Xbox. It was outside Xbox on the Xbox 360 runner, but it's different people slightly. And they also announced that it would be coming to the Windows Store, all of it, and also Steam, which is the biggest surprise. I expected it to come to PC. I did not expect it to come to Steam. Your thoughts, guys?
Well, it's an interesting one because, you know, Microsoft have their own store. It seems a very interesting decision to also put it on Steam. I mean, is it just because so many people use Steam and they're trying to revive the interest in the game by making it as accessible as possible? A lot of people trust Steam as a platform, and so if you've been a sole PC player, never played anything else, and maybe you weren't interested in Halo at the time, Steam, a lot of people trust Steam, don't they? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's a good business move, because if they decide to release Master Chief Collection on Steam and it gains massive popularity only, and then Halo 6 is Windows Store only, it may actually increase the sales on PC from that perspective, because while the Windows Store is on or Windows 10 PCs, Steam is, I believe, the most popular gaming store then.
Yeah.
So I think that it is a very sensible business decision. But it also is a good PR decision, I reckon. Oh, look, we don't want to just be exclusive. We want to be inclusive. We don't want to exclude anyone.
Yeah.
We want the PC players to be playing Halo. We think it's the best SPF series ever. Play out fucking game. And here you go. It's cheap, and you've got 5 games.
Yeah.
5 games. You've got Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Reach, Halo 4, and ODS, Halo 3 ODST. So, 6 games.
6 games. Oh, is ODST on it now?
ODST was on it. No, ODST was on it a few months back on Master Chief Collection.
I think the big thing about like the timing as well is that I mean, obviously we don't know the exact figures, and they probably do. is that it's probably been selling less and less, and this is the time to go. Oh, can we have a few more sales, please? And and it is a big market.
Well,
Steam is a big market.
The game is on Game Pass. I assume that if you've got Game Pass, it will be like other Xbox exclusive that will also be on PC for free because you've got Game Pass.
Yeah.
But then obviously the people who are buying it on Steam won't have access to that. And another thing I'd like to mention is from what I've read and seen, it is being rolled out game by game. I think they're releasing Reach first, and then they're going to tweak that as feedback comes in. Then they're releasing Halo 1, then 2, then 3, then 3 ODST, then 4. I think they're doing it in chronological order. So it'll be in the timeline of the games. Because Reach is obviously set before Halo 1, I believe.
Yeah. It's the origin story essentially.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. I mean, I've got to be honest. I've made it quite clear to most people that I am not a big Halo fan. I played Halo 1 and I basically had to get a friend of mine. I played it on Master Chief Collection, which I again owned for about 3 months before trading it in.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, meh, didn't like it, kind of got rid of it, and that was that.
Of course, we met on Halo 3.
Yeah, ironically, we did. You're right there. Yes, so I've kind of lost where that point was going. Then, oh yeah, I played number 1, and I literally had to have a friend like drag me through it, kicking and screaming, because I was determined to get through it. But that was rough. I did not enjoy a single moment of that game, and I just got to be honest, I did not. I got halfway through Halo 2 and was like, well, this is better, but I still am struggling. Halo 3 is the first Halo game that I actually enjoyed, and again, that's where I met Dan.
That's the only reason you enjoyed it, really.
Yeah. But the fact that Reach is, and I enjoyed Reach. That's the thing. I enjoyed Reach, and I actually enjoyed ODST as well. So the fact that Reach is coming to the Master Chief Collection will probably make me download it again just to play Reach.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Dan, you've always been quite a big fan of Halo.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of Halo. I've loved it from the start. It's one of the first, probably one of the first FPSs that really stood out to me as, oh, that's a fun game. And there's something about, especially when Bungie had it, something about the kind of the feel of the game, production value, high production value, AAA game, and then the story and everything else. So I think I would definitely, and I've got a physical copy of Master Chief Collection anyway. But then I'd probably start playing it again. I think, to be honest.
Just to play Reach. Because I assume it's remastered, is it? Because everything is on the Master Chief Collection is essentially remastered, isn't it not?
No.
Yeah, I think so.
Halo 1 is the 360 remaster. Halo 2 is remastered, and you can switch between Halo 2 OG visuals and remastered visuals on the fly. Halo 3 and 4, I think are just, they run at 4K. I think they're 4K HDR, and that's about it, I think. Maybe they've been touched up a little, but I don't think they're properly remastered. Halo 2 definitely is, but the rest of them, I think, are just maybe slightly upscaled versions of the original versions of them. I think the biggest news to come from this, though, is definitely the Steam news.
Yeah.
Because it makes you wonder, because people are saying Microsoft are going to be doing Xbox as a service instead of a strict console thing. So, like, there was rumors not long about Game Pass coming to the Switch, and then they was poo-pooed by someone at Microsoft, I think. But it does make you wonder, what are they actually planning then? If they're doing this, are there going to be other stuff coming to other platforms? are they going to release more of these stuff on PC, like Rare Replay, so I can play Conkers on my PC?
Yeah, well,
I mean, if they did it as a service, what could they put the service on apart from PC? Because PlayStation ain't gonna let you put the service on it.
No, but they on about that xCloud streaming service. So I wonder if there'll be a way to use that on other platforms somehow. I don't know, because no, PlayStation not gonna let them, and it'd be kind of pointless for them to do it really, because you could just buy like. I don't know how they would do it. Like they could do it with their own first-party games, but would they be able to do it with the third-party games?
Yeah. I don't know if I like the idea of it being as a service. If it went as a service, I'd struggle to get into it, I think. But that's just a personal thing more. Yeah.
I don't know.
know.
Exactly what as a service actually mean? Like, what would it actually entail?
Like, I think they basically mean that it's gonna be not platform exclusive. It'll work on other things, so that people can still play Xbox. They'll obviously still get their money from the games. I don't know. It's basically just working every way for everyone, so there's no locked doors, I guess.
So they're almost more of a publisher than I don't know.
Yeah. But they'll still. I don't know if that will happen. And to be honest, I wouldn't know if I'd want it to, because I think having the Xbox be the way it is kind of keeps the three companies separated in that sense.
Keeps them in line. Yeah,
and then
it keeps everyone in line.
It keeps everything. Yeah, and then you've got the whole competitiveness breeds creativity.
Right.
And that sort of thing. So you kind of want that. I
don't want them to get stagnant.
Yeah. But then again, there's also, there's always that news circling that Google are about to enter the console market. That could make things very interesting for them all, and maybe, because let's be fair, out of every company that has the funds to genuinely take on the three, there's only two companies really, I'd say, in the world that have a chance, and that's Amazon. That's Amazon and Google. They're the two that've got the funds, and that would probably be willing to put enough funds to genuinely make it a thing.
Have we seen the controller though?
Oh, I have. That Google controller is disgusting. Like, what were they thinking? If that's the genuine controller, they need to do something. They need to fire the guy who designed it, because that's not on. It's disgusting. Have you seen it, Dan?
No. I'm intrigued now by.
Yeah, just Google it if you can.
What is it?
Google Game Controller, maybe?
Yeah, Google Gamepad, Game Controller, something like that.
Gamepad. For what? Sorry, which one's this for?
Google.
For Google. Yeah.
Yeah, this is apparently what the Google. This is what the controller for the new Google console is going to look like. Apparently.
I swear, if he comes back and says he I'm banning him from playing games.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Oh, what? That's okay. That's like an Xbox controller built in Minecraft.
Yeah, it is.
What's going on? What's going on there? What?
Yeah,
okay.
I can see what you're saying though about them being competition, but it depends on if they go down the AAA gaming route or if it's just going to be.
Is it just going to be a glorified Android gaming device?
Exactly, like Ouya or whatever the hell it was called.
Ouya, yeah.
Which was weird.
Well, Google did the what game was it? It was Odyssey. Remember they tried doing the cloud
Odyssey,
service.
Yeah.
They did the cloud service.
I had to make sure because people might have been
well.
thinking you're on about Mario Odyssey, which is the better Odyssey.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been a deterrent for the books. Hey, Grum. Yeah, do you remember that when Odyssey came out? Google released it as a purely streaming service, like just as you had to stream the game, and apparently it worked really well the way they did it.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, purely streaming. I mean, we've seen how that's not succeeded much, but I mean, people do still enjoy it and that. But was it the live service or that live on demand service, which lasted for a while?
On live.
On live, that's it. I can see a place for it, but I think a massive thing that's holding people back about a lot of these similar kind of things is
People don't want to stream.
well, that too, yeah. But what I was going to say was people's internet connection. It's like, yeah, it's getting better and better, but it's still not anywhere near, say, South Korea or anything like that.
The problem is not the internet connection as well, in the terms of speed. People were discussing this on GRcade, and they were on about like the packet loss and stuff, and various other things.
Latency and that,
which involves latency, and the latency is, they say, is alright for slow-paced games. If you want to play an FPS where you're streaming the game,
or a fighting game, something like that,
you're going to be struggling. Like.
You're in trouble. Yeah. It's
like, there's another. Is there anything else you want to say on the Master Chief Collection now, or should we move on to the one other thing you mentioned before we wrap up tonight?
Don't mind.
Do you think it's going to succeed?
Much else to say about.
Do you think it's going to do well on Steam?
Yes, I think it's going to do better on Steam than it will do on Microsoft's own store. Maybe that's just a given because the amount of people that use Steam. I mean, is it worth considering that this could be the beginning of a potential alliance between Steam and Microsoft for maybe anything future?
I wouldn't, but I don't know, because do you remember what happened with Portal 2 and PlayStation 3? If you bought the PlayStation 3 copy of Portal 2, you got the Steam copy of Portal 2, and it was cross-play between Steam and PlayStation 3. So,
okay.
Is it going to be anything? Is it going to mean anything? Who knows? It didn't mean anything with that. And I think Steam will definitely. I think Halo will do quite well, especially as the people 343 Industries have said it's going to be a proper PC port. It's not going to be porting the Xbox game to the PC like a lot of other Xbox games have been done. This is proper, full-on, fucking settings up your ass portage. Proper port with all them good shit. One other thing you wanted to talk about that you mentioned, Doom, is you said that you wanted to discuss Anthem and Destiny opening, the Division 2's opening.
Yeah.
You said something about some things. But one thing I want to mention to you is with Anthem is there's been a fairly recent update for Anthem.
Yes.
I can't remember what update exactly, but someone worked out the mathematics behind the stuff, and they were basically saying better gear doesn't make you any stronger. It's literally pointless grinding for gear.
They worked out there was a bug in the game where the level 1 weapon that you get at the very beginning of the game outputs more damage than any legendary weapon. I
don't think it's a bug in the game. It's just the way they've worked the stats, and they're actually saying that basically where games try to make things look more complex by giving stupid names to stats and various other bullshit, that basically what they've done is make it look complex but not actually adding anything to it. So what you've got is a bare bones thing which just looks like it's doing stuff, and it turns out that if you actually if it was on about that, if you get you need to increase your power level instead of any other stat, because otherwise that just does nothing. Something like that. I can't quote it word for word because I read it on my phone briefly the other day, and then I just was like, glad I didn't get that game.
It's really weird the way they're doing it, because also there was a server side bug that was really messing with the drop rate of the legendary items. So at the time, legendary, like end game legendary items were dropping roughly once every 10 hours for people, which meant there were some people who just weren't getting legendaries, no matter how, if just statistics of that. Oh, there you go. Yeah, so Matt's just brought that up as well. Yeah, but then what was happening is there were certain times the server would just decide to start dropping legendaries like it's going out of fashion. So then all of a sudden you were getting 4 or 5 legendaries an hour. It was like it was all over the place. So the patch was meant to So the patch was meant to have fixed that, because that was a server side issue. So as far as I'm aware, they've sorted that. From the news I was reading, it said that that's kind of been resolved now, which that had to be resolved pretty damn quick, because that's a game breaking glitch there, for someone who's putting a lot of time into the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just saying, in terms of, if you look at the two, they're the two your looter shooters for this year. They're the two that's come out very close to each other. They're along the same same line type of game in terms of it's a looter shooter.
One thing I would like to say quickly is I have put a link in the chat to the article I read. It's on Eurogame. I didn't read it fully, but basically they're on about the guy worked it out using maths. It was a Reddit post where he worked it all and detailed everything, and he spent something like 4 days, 3 nights working it out. And people are like, well, I'm amazed the fucking developers didn't put that much effort into working this shit out like he did.
Yeah.
It's,
But yeah, sorry I interrupted you, but the Division 2, from what I've heard, is doing pretty bloody well, and I'm waiting to play it. I'm not sure what's happening there. I'm probably going to play tomorrow now, but, good fun.
You got more important things to do today.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not that. It's several reasons, but one of them is that there's double XP on Sea of Thieves.
Yes. But that's the thing, is the Division, I played a lot of the first Division, but I got to the point where I can't remember the cause, but like the instances that you could do, they came out, and then there was like game-breaking glitches and they happened to us a couple of times, where we got to the end of the instances, we'd beat the boss, and then nothing would spawn. We wouldn't get any loot. We'd get absolutely nothing for it.
What game's that, sorry?
That is the Division 1. Yeah.
Oh, I never had any problems like that.
Oh, really? Huh?
No, I think I put about maybe 100 hours into it. And...
Oh, really? We had that issue quite a lot, so it was.
No, I wouldn't be like 50 or more. I played through it. I played through it with a couple of the people from GRcade, and I streamed it all.
Yeah.
We end up doing several missions more than once, leading up to the end game, because like it was me, Devlin, Dragon, and I think Peter Crisp, and then Dragon dropped out, and then Lewis D took over from him, and we just had a lot of fun playing the game. So, but we never had any problems like that.
Oh, really? No. Well, that killed the game for me. After putting so much time into it, it kind of killed it. I don't think I played it after that, and I could put probably about 100 hours into the game. I don't mind a grind, that's not an issue at all.
Do you want bugged me the other day? Me and Matt, Sea of Thieves, took out a fucking pirate ship. Did we get any loot? Did we fuck? It was one of the skelly ones. Not even a fucking barrel.
How long did you wait after it had sunk?
15 minutes.
Oh, really?
10 minutes, something like that.
And you definitely were over the area where it
sank.
sank.
Yeah, and one ship we destroyed had one chest. That was it. One shitty chest.
You guys were unlucky.
One little chest. I think it was a captain's chest, which I think I meant to be good, but it was just one chest. That one was funny though. We were on an island. Sorry for hijacking your thing. We were on one of the port islands.
Yeah.
And the skelly ship had crashed into a dock and got stuck. So we just shooted it from there.
I love that.
I kept climbing on and getting killed, so I was just having a look around the ship, like.
Yeah. But yeah, Yeah, no. Compared to the two, obviously Anthem had an incredibly frosty response. It still has, to be honest. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, even the other day, it's the first time. Like I can let a lot of things go over my head when it comes to the way the
when the game first comes out, kind of thing.
Yeah, and you know, I get it. People need a game to hate. You know, that's fine. You know, I get that. I personally haven't had really any bad experience with it. I don't see what the problem is, but you know, I get it. People have their criticisms of it, but then but the thing I hate the most is when people just start. They look at some fake news, and I'm 100% sure they know it's fake news, but they know if they make a YouTube video about it, it's gonna get clicks, and then they start pushing all this fake news about it. Not once. There was two claims that Anthem bricked a PS4. There was two claims. Both claims were found to be false, but it didn't stop a load of popular YouTubers with loads of subscribers saying they jumped on it, and then they you know, I watched the video. They categorically said there was proof to say they bricked the systems.
To be fair, Anthem has got a bit of bad pub stuff, bit of a bad rep with things, but it's nothing in comparison to what Fallout 76 have had. Even now, people are giving shit to Fallout 76, and it's been out for months. Yeah. At one point, you were able to buy. At one point, you could buy that game for £5 on PC. In Australia, they were selling the game, and you could get a free copy of the game. Or buy a pad and you'd get a free copy of the game because it was being so badly. It had such. So, like Anthem, I've heard a lot of negative press about, but most of it, from what I've seen, has been. But the way you're defending it is the same way Jow would defend Fallout 76. I think the big thing people got to realize is if a game is bad, it could still be bad, but you can still enjoy it.
Yeah, you can still enjoy it.
So, to be honest, I wouldn't personally give a shit what other people think so much. Just enjoy the game. That's what I think. Like, fuck what other people think. If people are saying stuff, true or false, you know, just fucking play the game and have fun, man.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah, exactly. And that's what I do, you know. I don't mind what people say about it. But I was just pointing out the fact that it's not just about that game. It's about every game, you know. I just hate the general fact that people are low enough to dupe people into getting clicks, basically, and that's what I don't like. But hey, that's just the toxic kind of nature of the.
I agree,
YouTube,
but
you know.
But one thing I will also say is when developers take the piss and do a half-assed job, then they should expect all the criticism and bad press they get.
Oh no, they should. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's fucking not on. They fucking.
No.
Like, Fallout 76 was started off as a mod with not much to it, and from what all the tests now that were done, it is pretty much just a mod. Even Digital Foundry, I think, came to something along that conclusion. But the point is if they are going to release a game in a bad state, and then people are fucking then spreading the news, it's bad with me. It's like if I went and made opened a restaurant or opened a shop and give shitty service with shit food. Yeah. Just because I've improved it 6 months down the line doesn't mean that criticism shouldn't have been valid.
Oh no.
The point is if something is shit, then people should be fine to say it's shit. That other people saying you're wrong, it's not shit because I like it, because you can like it even if it's shit. Yeah. Like I said, I don't particularly think Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 are good games, but I think but I also think, for me personally, I've had a really good fun playing them. So.
Oh no, I get that. It's just I don't know. It's just anyway. But the point I was trying to make anyway was the fact that it's interesting to see that obviously these two games are going to be compared, because that's what they are, grinding looter shooters, and you know, you've got the one that had a very frosty response for whatever reasons, and then you've got the Division, which I actually thought was going to get frosty response because the first one I enjoyed. But there were problems with it, and I gotta be honest, I wasn't expecting much from Division 2 in terms of I didn't play the beta. I don't like playing betas, so I didn't play it. Dan, you did play the beta, and you basically said it just feels like Division 1. Yeah.
It's exactly
So
the same Division,
yeah,
just
so
slightly polished, I guess. It
yeah,
feels like Division towards the end of after updates and stuff.
yeah,
Um,
yes, which kind of makes sense, I guess, in a way. You know, that's
Yeah.
kind of
Well,
But I
the
can't
thing
see any kind
that I think with the Division is the Division was popular, so I think a sequel to the game, which is basically the Division but slightly different, is kind of what you'd expect from a sequel. If you change up too much, then
Yeah.
obviously it's a different kind of game. But I think with Ubisoft as well is look at Assassin's Creed, then Assassin's Creed 2. Look at Watch Dogs, and then Watch Dogs 2. So maybe the theory is people are thinking, it's not my theory. My theory is I'm going to play with the same guys I play Division with and have fucking great time. But
Yeah.
maybe the theory is it would also have that kind of leap. Like the Assassin's Creed was a pretty good but very repetitive game. Watch Dogs was dull as fuck. But Assassin's Creed 2 is where that series, it was just obviously the sequel, but it's where it truly started. And I think Watch Dogs 2 I haven't played myself, but I've got an extremely good rep. Like all the stuff it was showing, everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be awful," and it comes out, and people are saying it's one of the best games they've played. So,
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
so it's I think maybe that factors into it. I genuinely don't know. I think because I think if Anthem didn't look like Destiny, I think it would have had a better response initially, because people were like, "Oh, I think the reaction was, "Oh, BioWare are just trying to copy EA, not EA,
Activision.
Bungie."
Yeah.
Because it's a Bungie game. Activision, they were trying to copy Bungie for that game. So I think that will have a big factor. But I haven't read any information. What has the receptions been like with both games?
As I said, very, very frosty for Anthem. It was. I'm not going to say unfairly criticised, because it's a matter of opinion, but there was just from the get go. I noticed a very negative aura around the game. You know, plenty of people playing it, and there were plenty of people saying that they were enjoying it, and that's fine. But there was. I saw, you know, on Twitter especially, so there was loads of people sharing news reports about the game not being very, like, there's problems with the game, and there was plenty of people sharing reviews that were just slating the game. I personally looked at those reviews and thought they were very nitpicky. They were kind of making mountains out of molehills when it came to it, and they were, you know, they were talking about things that realistically mean very little in the overall kind of scheme of the overall experience, you know. But hey, as I said, I think everyone, the community, kind of needs a game to hate, and I think Anthem was just. I'm not saying it doesn't have its reasons for it, but I do think, you know, negativity spawns more negativity. Do you see what I mean? So if there's already a negative aura about a game, and there's loads of stuff being pushed about it, you're going to look for those negatives rather than maybe look at the positives, which is going to then make you have a more negative review on a game or outlook on a game, and maybe share your negative views on it. The Division, I was kind of expecting the same thing, but as far as I'm aware, I've heard nothing but good things about it. Like, I don't think I've heard a single, like, from day one, Anthem, there was news reports saying that there was issues with the game. There was plenty of people talking about the negatives. I haven't seen a single thing on Twitter, on anything, talking about any negativity with Division. All I've seen is people really enjoying it, and kind of that's that, you know. It's just yeah.
Right then.
I'm actually kind of glad. I'm glad for the fact that it's doing well. You know, it's I like that style of game, so it's nice to see that the community aren't just jumping on it because it's that kind of game. You know, yeah. I just think there's just a stark contrast. You know, I think the thing that really kind of maybe bugged me about Anthem is the fact that it was kind of I want to say well publicized. EA didn't say it, but it was kind of they basically, let's be fair, everyone kind of knows that if Anthem fails, BioWare's up for the chop. Do you know what I mean? EA will probably consider cutting them, and that's kind of always as it's been. And it's, when I say it's been well advertised, EA themselves hasn't really said it, but it's kind of just a known thing. And so the fact that everyone knows that if BioWare screw up or perceived to screw up a game, then it probably will, it could lead to EA cutting them, which means there's hundreds and hundreds of people out of work. And that's what I don't like is, okay, there's nothing wrong with having constructive criticism about a game. I've got no issues with that. It's when a company is under pressure to deliver, and they're under pressure from EA to push it out, because I've got a funny feeling that maybe a lot of the bugs that are there is because EA wanted this game out at a certain time, and they, maybe BioWare knew they didn't have the resources to polish it, and hence why there's got the problems. But then on top of that, there are people, this negativity that is spawning as a result of that kind of negative aura around it is not helping. I'm just concerned that if it doesn't, great, but if it results in BioWare getting shut down and hundreds of people lose their job, it will kind of all come down to the fact that these people have been toxic enough. The community's been toxic enough to cause that. As I said, I'm not saying the game's perfect, but there's nothing wrong with criticizing a game constructively, but reiterating the fact that there are good points. There are a lot of people out there who aren't even touching on good points and are just wrecking the game. Like, they are absolutely slaughtering it. And there are a lot of people that will listen to that. And that's the thing I don't like, is loads of people listen to that. And then if that stops the sales and then BioWare get cut and a load of people lose their jobs, then that's not on at all. And that's
at the
what
same
I'm
time, it's not on consumers to make sure they buy the game if they hear bad things. It isn't. It's not on me to go and buy it on me. It's not my fault that I haven't bought Anthem because I wasn't that interested in it. And then what's it called? The company gets shut down. I didn't buy Drive Club for months, and the company who made that got shut down. And Drive Club was brilliant. Yeah. Look, the thing is people are assuming that BioWare will be shut down. There is definitely nothing concrete about it. Just EA shut down a few companies. But you can't then say, well, millions of people should have bought the game to stop a company from going down.
No. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is there are loads of people, like the people that are producing the bad press.
Yeah.
The false bad press. Real bad press is fine, but the false bad press.
How much false bad press has it been apart from those the YouTubers saying about a brick in a PS4?
Loads. Like that whole, it's not just that YouTuber. That YouTuber got it from a thing that went viral, and that's what I'm saying.
No, I know, but I'm not saying how many people. I'm about how many other news stories have been untrue. Like if you take out the PlayStation 4 and say everyone turned around and said that was actually incorrect, the same people who said it, what other news stories have been false?
I'm trying to think now off the top of my head. Because maybe not necessarily false, but it's the fact that there are plenty of things that have been overreacted about. That's probably a better. So I'm not saying that way over. So like the one that was talking about was they were comparing it to the EA announcement that they'd done a couple of years ago, like the little cinematic thing they did, and people comparing that, saying, well, it's nothing like that, they've duped us over it. Then there was the fact that
but you get that with everything. You look at any Ubisoft game.
It's never.
But the thing is though, is why are companies making videos of things to show this is what the game is going to look like, and they're not doing that? Why didn't they set realistic targets instead of duping the customers? Because that's what they are basically doing. They're saying this is what the game you're going to get is, and then they can't live up to that. So people are going to be disappointed. I don't think that's a problem with us. I think that's the problem with the companies for doing it. They shouldn't do it. It's the same with when they used to do CGI trailers all the time. They don't do it as much now because people weren't happy with the products that they were getting from that. So again, it's on them, not us. That's my opinion.
I get that, but as I said, it's I forgot where I was going with this now. The issue that I've got is the fact that people are there are other things people overreacting about, and it's lots of little things, but it's the fact that people are basically saying it ruins the game for these little things, and they don't. Like there's one. Like,
I would
for
think
instance,
that's entirely subjective, though.
Just not the way
Personally,
putting it out there, though,
something
it's like-
something to you that might be minor might to me be a big problem. Like Ubellion said, does story matter in a game where people come mainly for the gameplay loop? For some people, it would matter. For other people's, it wouldn't. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I think with people having various opinions, I think it would vary on the person.
Yeah, as I said, if you've got a criticism of our game, I've got no problems with that. But unless it, I just don't like the fact that I can say if I do or don't like a game. I've got no problems with that, and I can give you the reasons for why I don't like a game. But you're never going to hear me say, "Oh my God, this little thing is causing me such grief that I'm gonna, the whole game's broken. You should never play it. The thing is being," and then start attacking the developer because of it, and start attacking. I'm never going to do that. All I'm going to say to you is, there's a few things I don't like about this game. Here's the things I do, but hey, here's the things that I do like about this game. I'll be constructive about it. What I'm saying is that there are people out there who are only looking at the negatives. They are overreacting over as in, when I say overreacting, like you said, it is a matter of opinion, but I would put a lot of money on a lot of those things that are being said. Not everyone, but I'd say there's a lot of it that is a purposeful overreaction to get clicks. That's all I'm saying, because bad news spreads quicker than good news. And if you're trying to get clicks,
with YouTubers,
I'm not saying
stuff,
everyone. People have genuine opinions. If someone says I hate the game, fine. If they can hate the game and they can give me any reason for it, and if it's a genuine opinion, I've got no problems with that. The thing I don't like is that I know, not just for this game, I'm talking about for the whole game industry, there are way too many people out there who rap on a game by pulling up very small, insignificant things, make mountains out of molehills, and then trash the developer, the game, and everything, the publisher, everyone around it, and then make those claims go viral as a result, just for the point of clicks. And that's why I can't stand is, if you have a genuine opinion in it, fine. No problems. It's those people, and that's kind of what I don't like here is. And then all I'm saying is every game's going to have it, but I just feel like Anthem has had it more than others. Maybe because it's BioWare doing it, and BioWare are, I think you expect them to create a certain type of game, and they haven't created that game. So a lot, do you see what I mean?
I know what you're saying, but I don't think Anthem have had it worse than a lot of other games. Fallout 76 is by far the worst I can think of in recent memory.
No.
Assassin's Creed Unity got a lot of shit. Drive Club got a lot of shit. I think the problem is when you release a game in a state that is not up to A, the company's traditional standards, B, is bug-ridden, and C, is clearly released too early. I think a lot of the criticisms can be justified, but I do agree with you when people are doing clickbait bullshit, then that is a different thing altogether.
Yeah, and that's the trouble is people listen to the clickbait because it's the thing that makes the headlines, and then how many people, not just for Anthem in general, form an opinion just by reading the clickbait title of something, and then probably don't even read the article or skim over it, and then straight. How many people? There are plenty of us who are informed enough to look through that and go and search for other reviews to balance it out. But there are a lot of people out there who will just take that on face value. They won't even read the article or watch the YouTube video, and they just then become a conduit to spread that fake negativity. Do you see what I mean? And that's the issue. It's just the general way of, but like you said, you're not wrong there. At the end of the day, if you what they're doing, what the developers are doing, if like you say, if they're making a game that isn't up to scratch, what they're doing is they're giving the people the ammunition to be able to go and pull the trigger on them. Do you know what I mean? That's the trouble. Is if the game was perfect, then there would be no.
Well, if the game was just
no
what
complaints.
they
Something-
advertised it as.
Matt
Not
said something in
perfect.
chat there, like he said, the live service model is just asking for this level of criticism, to be honest. Pay full RRP in hope that one day it will be good. So you're paying for a full price for a game with the expectation that maybe in a year's time you're getting a good game. Like for me, Sea of Thieves, you've thoroughly enjoyed, you've seen all the stuff. Me, Matt, Jasm, and Graham, I think it was, when we played it at first, we were like, this needs more content. I'm glad I didn't pay for this game. Because I know that it's coming up to a year and there's a lot more added to it. But the fact is you could have paid for that. The stuff they could have added could have been very insignificant and could have made the game worse. You're then gambling. It's basically a gamble on a game.
Yeah.
And I think...
Yeah, it is.
I think
You either buy
that
into it
needs
or
to
you
be
don't.
changed. I think games need to be back in the position where you get what you pay for, not you get what you pay for maybe a year or two down the line. Well, like you said, live service model not good. Like
No, I agree with that.
Like I said about that other bloody game, that one you had to download everything for. Jesus Christ.
Which one was that?
Fucking Tony Hawk's game.
Tony Hawk's.
Oh.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, one level, rest download. What if we didn't have even that?
I'm
It's the problem.
I'm
with
alright in
things.
saying not that I'm saying it's the same issue, but I'm alright in saying the Spyro trilogy. The first game's on the disc, and the other two are downloadable content.
I believe that is the case. I think it's the
Yeah.
same with the Crash trilogy as well.
It might be. I'm not saying that those games are bad because I haven't played the remakes, but it seems a very weird choice to do personally. Especially when these games are clearly small enough to put on the disc. They're not that big.
Definitely, yeah.
You wouldn't
So
think
it
they were
just-
that big. I couldn't say either way because they remastered. I wouldn't, and they used completely new assets. I wouldn't be sure if obviously they're not going to be as small as they were, but I don't know how big they would be. But then, from what I've heard, Blu-ray discs can be massive. I think it used to be that the music was the main problem for
Music's always the
Blu-rays.
main problem.
Because it's so big, but. I wouldn't, because you've got 3 games of various music then, if it doesn't repeat anyway in the different levels. So I wouldn't know, but it does, again, to me, also seem odd that one game would be on the disc and not the others.
Yeah, it's a very it's just an unusual tactic that hey, it works for some, but no, you're right.
My
At the end of the
personal
day,
thing is when it comes to a company shutting down, it is on the publishers. If they've set sales targets too high, especially if they've set sales targets too high when they can see that there is a frosty outlook on the game. And then it's down to the developers for producing a game that they have shown, and it's down to the publisher and developer to work together to get the correct the correct sales targets and the release time and things like that. I get what you're saying with people spreading stuff, but you putting it down to people not buying the game when, if they wanted to, they could find positive and negative press. Java was putting stuff positive in the Fallout 76 thread because everyone else was posting negative stuff. But the point is, if people are looking at stuff and say there's an equal amount of positive and negative press, and then they got to weigh up then if that game is worth the money, and to say that you basically need to then understand that some people who want to spend £50 on a game are going to look at which is receiving the better press and then go with that one. And I think that's fair, and I think to put it down to people saying negative things is a bit unfair on us consumers over the developers, because they should be doing their best to get things right, not releasing a patch which means all your loot grinding is fucking pointless.
Yeah, no, I get that, and like I said, at the end of the day, there are too many games out there that are giving they're giving people the ammunition to fire. If they created the game that they said they would create in the first place, and they didn't need massive day one patches and all this kind of stuff, then at least then you could turn around and say, well, actually, none. It would be more obvious then. But like you said, at the end of the day, if a game's coming out flawed, then you know the developer / publisher is giving these people the ammunition to be able to
Mm.
to be able to spread this stuff.
Another thing Matt just said as well, EA didn't exactly help themselves by releasing a hit game for free just before Anthem, which was Apex Legends.
What game was that? Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Which also gave Titanfall 2 a boost in player count.
It did, big time.
So, people are assuming that they released Apex Legends when they did to cover up some of the controversy of the Anthem beta. Obviously, this is just speculation on some people's part. I don't know. But the problem with that is they've then released that game for free. Why are people then go, well, I'll just play this for a bit. I'll get Anthem when it's a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
So they've cannibalized their own sales. They did exactly the same with Titanfall 2, releasing it between COD and fucking
Such a travesty.
Battlefield.
Battlefield 1, which was the most hyped Battlefield game in so long.
Exactly.
Well.
So the point is EA, if they were to close down BioWare, they've got just as much to blame on them, if not more, than anyone else.
Oh, no.
Because they've cannibalized their own sales releasing Apex Legends.
Mm. Yeah, it's a dangerous game they're playing, but I don't know. But yeah, no, sorry if it sounded like more of a rant, but I was just trying to get across that it's not necessarily just Anthem. I've got, and the people, I don't care if someone's got if someone's got a negative opinion about the game, that's great. That's them. All I'm saying is the game industry in general, there's way too much toxicity, and there are too many people that listen to that toxicity.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it will, if it costs people their jobs, that's where it draws the line. I'm not saying if it will, and if it doesn't, great. But it does put developers under more pressure, you hope publishers look through it, look past it. But at the end of the day, all a publisher wants to see is numbers. And if they don't see those numbers, they're going to find a way to make those numbers balance again. And if shutting a publisher down means that they don't care why the game's not selling, that's what you're going to remember, is they just want to see those numbers balanced. They're not going to give anyone the sympathy.
I agree, but the problem is is not on us to.
No, I'm not saying
it's not. I don't mean as specifically. I just mean in general. It's not on people not to voice their opinions of something they don't like. It is on the developers and the publishers to cater to their audience. If they promising a certain type of game, and they want to bring out the game, they need to bring out the best it can be, in my opinion. And I'm not saying, people who are basically just piling on negative stuff without any positives. That is dickish. But at the end of the day, if the people from BioWare were to be closed down, it would be sad, because BioWare, I've played many of their games over the years and I've enjoyed them. But I wouldn't put that down on me because I haven't bought the fucking game. If they fucked up their game, they fucked up their game. And if EA have decided to go, we expect you to sell this much, even though we can see you're not going to because of the bad reception, tough shit, we closed you down anyway. That's on EA. Completely and utterly.
I know. I'm just saying it's a shame that all this has to happen.
I agree with you, but so many like Wipeout. We haven't had a new Wipeout for years, simply because they closed down the company in Leeds. I think it was Sony did. Drive Club. We haven't had Drive Club stopped because again Sony closed them down because they weren't hitting sales targets. The problem we've got is companies expecting too much.
Yeah.
Liverpool was it? My apologies, not Leeds. The problem you've got is these companies are expecting to get more than realistically possible, especially when the work isn't up to standard. And I'm not saying they're being lazy, they're not doing their jobs. Obviously they are, and they're under massive pressure to doing it. But I feel that if you're going to pressure your team into doing things and maybe threaten their jobs, that they're not going to work optimally because they're going to be stressing about it. So I think work environment may play a part in that as well, and various other things. Who knows? I'm not in the games industry, and I never will be. But unfortunately, you know, it's just a casualty of everything. It's like many a shop will close down or something because other things will do better, and bad word of mouth will do things. And it's a sad state of affairs. But at the same time, if you're not going to deliver the goods, you can't then expect people to still buy your shit.
Yeah, I just hope that they've got the kind of longer view in mind, that even if this game doesn't produce the numbers and produce the money, like, it's still a studio, it's still a game maker that can make really good games that people like. BioWare. I mean, I think they'd be shooting themselves in the foot to just get rid of them.
Yeah, you barely in the same beer. Like, consumers feel pressure if they feel they don't buy a game at release, that the developers will be published by their abusive masters. So basically, there are a lot of people who will buy the game regardless because they don't want the company being shut down. Like, a lot of people will buy a game on, like a crappier game on Switch, knowing it's bad. They'll buy it just in case Capcom will release a good game on Switch. At the end of the day, it does work the other way as well. It's like, oh, we'll buy this shit hoping we'll get something good. Like Jawa and Fallout 76.
They know how much pressure they will have put BioWare under there to release it on time, and so they have to be realistic as well.
I think that exactly. There needs to be more realistic picture put in place for the publishers. There's nothing else I could say other than that. At the end of the day, I get what you're saying about the negative stuff and people losing their jobs, but then if they didn't make these mistakes, then these negative things wouldn't be said. And I don't think I think honestly, if I think Anthem come out without the bugs and what have you, and it came out, I think it would have done a lot. But I think it would have been, people would have been, oh my god, surprise game of the year. I think the fact is it came with the problems, which is why people bandwagoned the problems. Same with Fallout 76. People were unhappy with Fallout 76 because it was going to be a multiplayer experience. Then a lot of people actually said, well, we'll still give it a go. Then a lot of people didn't bother them because of all the negative press that came with it. I haven't bought the game, even though I actually said I would like to buy the game, but because it's a multiplayer game, I want to play with people, but I've got no one to play it with. And the only reason why I consider buying is because it literally went to £5 on CD keys on PC. So, you know, where's the harm, like? But I didn't get it again because, like I said, I had no one to play with, so that's the point. Anyway, I think we should wrap up now, guys, unless you have anything more to add, because we have gone for an hour and a half.
I think the gaming industry is such a competitive industry, and everyone has to, like, if they're going to produce AAA titles, they all have to, like, pull together and, like, do the best they can. They're going to put it out there and expect people to pay £50 plus for a game. It's not a cheap hobby. It's something people invest quite a bit of money into. It's like, I've chosen that game that I want to play. It's like, here's £50 of money. It's not, I'm going to watch a film for a £5 go to the cinema. It's like, it's a big investment. And I think, the end.
But you're looking at, like, you're talking about shutting down companies. And Drive Club, when it came out, was fucked. The online wasn't working. There was so many problems with the game. And after a couple of months, I bought it. After a load of patches was done. And it's probably the second best racing game I've played. It was fucking phenomenal. Test Drive Unlimited on the Xbox 360. Which, with Drive Club, it is genuinely sad that the company got shut down because they made the MotorStorm games. They genuinely made good racing games. And because the game didn't do as well as Sony wanted it to, gone.
Yeah,
exactly. So there you go. And again, that's not on consumers, that's on the developers fucking things, and Sony pushing it out the door too soon.
You're right.
So, you know. One thing I will say is Test Drive Unlimited was one of the game which surprised me. I played the demo on the Xbox 360. I fucking hated it. I couldn't stand it. It was the worst demo I'd played. But I had money. I thought, fuck it, I'll just buy the game anyway. I bought the game. Fucking loved it. This is why I don't... sometimes I don't judge a game on the demo, because the Test Drive Unlimited demo, if you played that compared to the full game, they were very, very significantly different. And Test Drive Unlimited was genuinely fucking awesome. So there you go. Anyway, that's going to be the end from us, unless you guys in chat have any questions not pertaining to the length of our penises. Well, actually, we haven't asked Aten that question, so if you want to ask him that, be my guest.
Yes. But only if you ask it. And I think that's it. No one's asked it.
Nope, no questions this week. Okay then. Well, we are going to end the stream. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to check out grcade.co.uk. And I completely agree, Matt. I said the same about anything. If you're going to release a game in a shit state, then it's on you. But at the same time, it's also on the publishers if they've made them release the game knowing it isn't ready. So it's their fault just as much, because they then are the one who's closing down that company, even though they knew that their game wasn't ready to be released. So it's on them just as much, in my opinion. Anyway, we are going to end the stream, guys. One thing,
just before we go, obviously the plan is we're going to play some Sea of Thieves now. Is that going to be streamed on the GRcade channel, or are we going over to our mixers to do that?
Well, this is what I was just about to say.
Oh, there we
I was about to say, guys, we are ending the stream right now, but we are going to continue being streaming in the sense of we are going to go to the rival stream company thing, stream service.
Superior stream.
Well, I wouldn't say superior. I'd say different. Also, I've heard that soon Twitch are implementing the same a similar co-stream service that Mixer has, so Mixer will literally have nothing on Twitch. But anyway, honestly, I don't care. I stream to both. We're gonna go on there because we're gonna do co-ops, co-streams. So if you want to tune in to the Mixer streams, be our guest. Otherwise, we shall see you next GRcade stream, which I'm not sure when that is.
Are we gonna try and do a Sunday now?
A what?
Sunday works for me.
I don't know. I think we need to find out with other people. Like, then again, at the end of the day, it's only usually me and you here, so whatever works for us, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna go and play some Sea of Thieves. Thank you for tuning in. Say bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Ta-ra, guys. See you next sometime. Bye.
Laters.